Okay, for your quick breads, we're going to start off with the muffin mixing method. The first step to this method is to combine your dry ingredients together. Once you've done that process, you want to go ahead and combine your liquid ingredients together. After you finish that, you want to mix or blend in your liquid ingredients and your dry ingredients separately. After that, you want to put your liquid ingredients into your dry ingredients and combine them well by mixing. Some examples of this batter includes muffins, coffee cakes, quick loaf breads or banana bread, pancakes, and waffles. The biscuit mixing method, the first step to this is to combine your dry ingredients. Then you want to cut in your fat using a pastry blender. Then you want to add in your liquid ingredients and knead if it's needed. The examples to this include biscuits, scones, and pie crust. The types of mixtures are your soft dough, which is a 3-to-1 ratio rolled out. This is a biscuit or a scone. Your stiff dough, which is a 6-to-8-to-1 ratio, it's a firm texture and it's a pie crust. Your pour batter is a 1-to-1 ratio, it's pourable, it's pancakes, waffles, or popovers. And then your drop batter is a 2-to-1 ratio, thicker, and it drops from a spoon in lumps, which includes your muffins and cookie dough. So for your cakes, you have your creaming method, which is a coarser and less tender. It's used when your fat content is higher than sugar and flour. The first step to this is you want to cream together your fat and sugar, and then you want to add your eggs one at a time. After, you want to sift together your dry ingredients, and then you want to mix your wet ingredients. Once you finish that, you want to alternate adding dry and wet ingredients, beginning and ending with dry. So you're going to add dry, wet, and continue. An example of this is like a chocolate cake or a yellow cake. Your two-stage method is used when your fat content is high and the weight of the sugar is equal to or greater than the weight of the flour. The first step to this is you want to mix all your dry ingredients first. And once you've done that, you want to beat in your cold but softened butter. And then you want to add your eggs and liquids slowly in 2 stages. You pour half of it in the first stage until it's mixed well, and then you pour the second half for the second stage. Examples of this could be chocolate cakes as well. Next, you have your low-fat cakes, which have no fat included, and eggs are part of the leavening. It's a springy texture and tougher. Your sponge method for the first step is to separate your eggs, the yolk from the egg white. Then you want to sift your dry ingredients together. Then you want to beat your egg yolks until they are at a ribbon stage. And then you want to beat your egg whites and your sugar. Beat until it's stiff and glossy and it forms peaks. After, you want to fold in your egg whites and alternate with sifted flour. Your angel food cake You whip your egg whites. This method only includes egg whites. Once you get a texture sort of like shaving cream, that's when you want to add in your sugar. And then when you add in your sugar, you want to mix until you're able to form stiff peaks. You also want to add in any flavors such as vanilla extract or almond extract. Once your batter is set, you want to transfer it to a bigger bowl. You want to mix your dry ingredients together. And once you have your mixture into the bigger bowl, you want to start sifting your dry ingredients little by little onto your mixture. And then you want to fold in the dry ingredients, trying not to mess with the batter as much in order not to flatten it. And then you just continue until your flour is gone. How do you determine which mixing method to use? If your fat is high, then you want to use a cream or a two-stage method. If your sugar is higher than the flour, you want to use a two-stage method. And if your fat is low, you want to use a foam method. For scaling and panning cakes, for high-fat cakes, the bottom of the layer's pan must be greased. For sheet cakes, line the pan with greased parchment. For angel food cakes, do not grease the pan. The batter must be able to cling to the sides in order for it to rise. For sponge cakes, layers with a small percentage of fat, grease the bottoms but not the sides. Some tips for avoiding cake failures include preheating the oven, making sure ovens and shelves are at level, do not let pans touch each other in the oven, bake at the correct temperature, do not open the oven or disturb the cakes until they have finished rising and are partially browned, and if steam in the oven is available, use it for cream and two-stage batters. Testing for doneness. Shortened cakes slightly shrink away from the sides of the pan. Cakes are springy. The center of the top springs back when pressed lightly, and a cake tester or pick inserted into the center of the cake comes out clean. For cooling and removal, let the cakes sit 15 minutes in the pans before turning them out. If they are too hot, they may break. For an angel food cake, turn the pan upside down and support the edges of the pan so the top of the cake is off the bench. Types of icings and fillings are a fondant, which is a sugar syrup that is crystallized to a smooth, creamy white mass. A buttercream, which is a light, smooth mixture of fat and confectioner sugar. It is also a meringue type buttercream and French buttercreams. You also have your foam type icing. This is a much simpler method. It's simply a meringue made with boiling syrup. Then you have your fudge type icings, which is rich cooked icings. Then after you have your flat type icings, also called water icings. It's a simple mixture of 10 times sugar, water, and sometimes corn syrup. You also have your royal or decorator's icing. It's similar to flat icings, but much thicker. And then for your glazes, you have a thin, glossy, transparent coating that gives shine to baked products and help prevent drying. And then you have your fruit fillings, which is basically cooked or uncooked fruit. Your cream fillings include pastry cream and various pudding type preparations. Your whipped cream is cream used as a dessert topping, filling, and or frosting. The function of the icing is to improve the quality of the cake by forming a protective coating around it. It contributes flavor and richness, and it improves appearance. When to use each one. In general, use heavy frostings with heavy cakes and light frostings with light cakes. Tips for using is the flavor of the frosting should not be stronger than that of the cake, and light pastel shades are more appetizing than loud colors. For your types of cookies, you have the drop cookies, which are made from a soft dough or batter. They are fast and easy to make up, and many sponge or form type batters are made up as drop cookies. Some examples of this include chocolate chip and oatmeal cookies. Then you have your bagged cookies. Your bagged cookies or pressed cookies are also made from soft doughs. The dough must be soft enough to be forced through a pastry bag, but stiff enough to hold its shape. Some examples are spritz or a butter cookie, macaroons, or ladyfingers. Your rolled cookies are cut from a stiff dough. They are not often made in commercial food service because they require excessive labor. Scraps are always left. When re-rolled, these scraps make inferior tough cookies. Examples of these are cutout cookies and gingerbread men. Your molded cookies are special molds used to flatten the dough and at the same time stamp it with a design. The pieces may also be shaped by hand into crescents. Examples are wedding cookies, thumbprint cookies, and peanut butter cookies. Your ice spot cookies are ideal for operations that wish to have freshly baked cookies on hand at all times. The rolls of dough may be made up in advance and stored. Some examples of this include spiral cookies and shortbread cookies. Your bar cookies is the dough shaped into long bars which are baked and then cut. After cutting, they may be baked again, as in the case of a biscotti, which means twice baked. Examples of this could be a biscotti or a pecan bar cookie. And then you have your sheet cookies. Like sheet cakes, only denser and richer, they may even be iced. Examples of these are brownies, blondies, lemon, or raspberry bars. The characteristics of the cookies are crispness, which is the low proportion of liquid in the mix. Most crisp cookies are made from a stiff dough. High sugar and fat content. Evaporation of moisture during baking due to high temperature, small size or thin shape so the cookies dry quickly, and proper storage. Crisp cookies can become soft if they absorb moisture. Softness is a high proportion of liquid in the mix, low sugar and fat, honey, molasses, or corn syrup included in the formulas. These sugars are hygroscopic, which means they readily absorb moisture from the air. Under baking, large size or thick shaped. Proper storage, soft cookies can become stale and dry. The chewiness is the high sugar and liquid content but low fat content. High proportion of eggs, strong flour, or gluten development during mixing. For your spread, you have your sugar, which is the high sugar content increases speed. Coarse granulated sugar increases spread, whereas the fine sugar or confectioner sugar reduces spread. The leavening is a high baking soda or baking ammonia, and long creaming also encourages spread. The temperature, a low oven temperature increases spread, and a high temperature decreases spread. The liquid, a slack batter, spreads more than a stiff. Flour, a strong flour or activation of gluten, decreases the spread. And pan grease or cookies spread more if baked on heavily greased pans. For your cookie mixing methods, you have your one stage, which is mixing all dry ingredients first, then beating in cold but softened butter, and then adding your eggs and liquid ingredients slowly in one stage. Your creaming methods is creaming together fat and sugar. Add eggs one at a time. Sift together dry ingredients, mix wet ingredients, and alternate adding dry and wet ingredients, beginning and ending with dry. Your method is to separate your eggs, sift your dry ingredients, beat egg yolks until ribbon stage, beat egg whites and add sugar until stiff and glossy, and then fold in egg whites and alternate with sifted flour.